There is a fire inside you, ancient and unshakable, not lit by the hands of men, nor kindled by applause or ambition. It was not handed down in a classroom, nor stirred by sermons echoing from pulpits. It did not come from a book, though sacred pages may have named it. No, this fire is older than all of that. It is holy, uncontainable, and undeniably yours. You didn't ask for it, you didn't earn it. Still, it burns. This flame is not loud. It does not leap and clamor for attention. No, it glows in the quiet hours, when the world goes still. It whispers to you in your dreams and hums in your bones while you wash dishes, change diapers, sign contracts, or sit alone on the edge of your bed. It is the ember of something eternal that was tucked into your soul before you ever took your first breath. You may have tried to run from it, ignored it, buried it under layers of doubt and distraction, but somehow, it lives. It refuses to go out. And deep down, in your most honest moments, you know this fire is what sets you apart. Others see it too, even if they can't name it. They feel your presence like warmth on a cold day. They come to you for wisdom, comfort, clarity, and you don't always know why. You're not perfect, you're not flawless, but you carry something that steadies the shaking, lights up the dark, and brings truth to the surface. And though you may not always feel strong, this fire is, though you may question your purpose, the fire never forgets. Though the world may try to silence you, this flame will rise. This is the divine inheritance of the God-selected, not fame, not fortune, but fire. A soul-lit brilliance that cannot be bought or borrowed. It is the signature of the Creator, etched into your very being. You were chosen, not because you were the loudest, the boldest, or the most qualified, but because your spirit could carry something sacred, something eternal. You will find, as the years unfold, that this fire will guide you, not always where you planned to go, but always where you're meant to be. It will lead you to truth when the lies are loud. It will call you back to hope, when despair circles close. And even in seasons of deep exhaustion, when your hands are trembling and your faith is threadbare, the fire will keep you. You may flicker, yes, but you will not go out. This flame is not about fame. It is not for show. It is for healing. It is for justice. It is for love. It is the soft, relentless light that says, even here, even now, you are not forgotten. It is the proof that you were created on purpose. For purpose, so hold your head high, even when the world doesn't understand you. Walk with grace, even when your path is lonely. That fire inside you, it is your compass, your calling, your covenant with the heavens. You carry a light no darkness can overcome. You carry a fire you didn't start, and it will never go out. Nothing can dim the light which shines from within. Maya Angelou. There are wounds you carry that have no name. Hurts so old, even time tiptoes around them. You've known heartbreak like a second language. Loss has sat at your kitchen table. Disappointment has knocked on your door and made a bed in your soul. And still, you rise. Not because you weren't broken, but because something greater in you refused to stay broken. You've been brought to your knees by the weight of grief, not once, not twice, but many times. And each time, you thought, this might be the one that undoes me. But the next morning, even before the sun rose, something stirred in you. Maybe it wasn't loud or brave or proud, but it was alive. And that was enough. Because you are not made of easy things, no. You are made of spirit and thunder. You are stitched together with the prayers of ancestors and the promises of heaven. You have been held by unseen hands when no one else saw you trembling. You have been carried by grace when your own legs gave out. You have felt pain, yes, but pain did not get the final word. Each scar you wear is holy ground. Proof that the fire touched you but didn't consume you. You've cried tears that could fill rivers, but still you offer kindness. You've been lied to, let down, left out, but still you choose love. That choosing is sacred. That choosing is strength. You see, rising isn't about being fearless, it's about being faithful, even when afraid. It's not about avoiding the fall, it's about what you do after you hit the ground. Some rise bitter, carrying the weight of vengeance and fury. But you rise with dignity. You rise with softness still in your heart. That kind of rising isn't natural, it's divine. That kind of rising is the mark of a God-selected soul. Because when God chooses you, He doesn't promise a life without pain. But He does promise that pain won't have the final say. He promises that every valley will serve a purpose, that every night will bow to morning, and that you will walk through the fire without smelling like smoke. Yes, you've felt defeats, not just in life, but in your spirit. Moments when your laughter disappeared, when your joy dried up, when your prayers turned into silent sighs. But even then, something in you held on. Maybe not to hope, maybe not to certainty, but to God, and God held on to you. That's the mystery of the chosen ones. Not that they never fall, but that they keep rising in ways the world cannot explain. Not because of talent or toughness, but because of an invisible grace that says, "Get up again, beloved. You're not done yet," and so you do. You rise again, each time more rooted, each time more radiant. You walk into rooms with a quiet strength, not loud, not showy, but unmistakable. People can feel it that you've suffered and survived. That you've lost and kept loving. That you've bled and kept blessing. That is no small thing. That is everything the world needs, your kind of rising. Not the kind that pretends everything's fine, but the kind that says, "I've been through the fire, and I still choose the light." You are not here by accident. You were not preserved through pain for nothing. There is purpose in your rising. There is glory in your survival. Your life tells the story of a God who sees, a God who heals, a God who restores. So don't let the pain define you. Let the rising do that. Let the world know, "I've been knocked down, but I'm not defeated." Let heaven echo back, "That one is mine." We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. Maya Angelou. There is something in you that cannot walk past another's pain. Even when your own heart is breaking, your spirit leans in. Even when you are weary to the bone, your soul still reaches out. You see sorrow not as something to fear but as something to hold, and somehow, in your presence, broken things begin to breathe again. This is no accident. You were not taught this kind of love. The world didn't show you how to be this tender. This kind of healing instinct is not learned in books or earned through applause. No, it is planted, it is placed, it is poured into you by the divine. Some are called to build, some to lead, some to speak, but you were called to comfort. You are a carrier of calm, a vessel of quiet strength. Your gift is not loud, it doesn't ask for attention. It doesn't stand at the center of the stage, but when it shows up, people feel seen, people feel safe, people feel like, maybe, just maybe, they can keep going. And what a holy calling that is. You speak in ways that soothes, even when you say nothing at all. Your silence is sacred, your listening a balm. Your hands seem to know where to rest, your eyes seem to know how to hold people who feel invisible. You have become a refuge, not because you've never been broken, but because you have. Your healing power flows from the deep wells of your own ache. You've known sorrow, you've tasted grief in the back of your throat. You've cried in the bathroom with the door locked, smiled through tears so no one would ask. You've walked through shadows that tried to swallow you whole. And yet, somehow, in those very places, God was planting healing in your soul. You didn't even know it was happening. But the hurt softened you. The grief made room for grace. And now your life speaks a language only the wounded understand. You don't need credentials to heal. You don't need a title or a microphone. You don't even need words. Sometimes your hug is the sermon. Sometimes your presence is the miracle. God selected you because you understand how to show up with humility, with gentleness, with soul-deep care. You don't fix people. You don't force. You simply love them where they are. That, beloved, is divine work. In a world where so many rush past pain, where compassion is rationed and mercy is rare, your spirit is a healing river. You move through life quietly mending what others trample. You offer hope without shouting, light without blinding, truth without wounding. That kind of healing doesn't come from you. It flows through you. You are a channel, not the source, and though the world may not always notice what you do, heaven does. Heaven sees the way you carry others in prayer, the way you listen without judgment, the way you show up for people who can give you nothing. In return, heaven sees the healing that happens in your shadow, the burdens lifted, the souls steadied, the hearts reminded they are not alone. That's why you've been through what you've been through, not to be broken, but to understand the broken. Not to be crushed, but to become compassionate. Not to sit in silence forever, but to become the one who understands when words fall short. So don't ever think your gift is small. You may never know how many lives you've touched, how many nights you've lightened, how many people whispered thank you after your name left the room. But know this, God knows, and God trusts you with the fragile, the forgotten, the hurting, because He knows you will hold them gently. To heal is holy. To comfort is sacred. To care, even while you're still healing, is a mark of divine favor. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. but people will never forget how you made them feel. There is something about you that has never quite fit the mold. You've tried. Lord knows, you've tried. You've studied how they walk, how they speak, how they laugh just enough but not too much. You've adjusted your tone, your dreams, even your silences, just to find a seat at the table. But no matter how you bend or shrink, something in you keeps rising. Not in arrogance, not in loudness, but in undeniable presence. You walk into a room, and the atmosphere shifts softly, powerfully, not because you demand it, but because you carry something rare, something set apart. People may not know what it is, but they feel it. They watch it. They whisper about it. And sometimes, they misunderstand it. You weren't made to blend in. You weren't designed for invisibility. You were marked from the beginning with a holy distinction. And yes, that distinction has come at a cost. You've felt the sting of being left out. You've seen doors close with no clear reason. You've sat in circles where everyone else seemed to speak the same language while you quietly wondered, why can't I just be like them? But deep in your spirit, a voice reminds you because you were never meant to be like them. You were crafted with a different rhythm, a divine rhythm. It can be lonely. This calling to stand out. To walk a path with fewer footprints. To carry questions others don't ask and vision others don't see. But don't confuse your uniqueness with something that needs fixing. It is not your fluid, is your fingerprint. The world may label it strange, too much, or not enough, but heaven calls it sacred. You were never created to be normal. You were created to be luminous, to be bold, to carry light into places where shadows have lived too long. That kind of purpose will never fit into conventional shapes. You weren't made to blend, you were made to bless. And yes, it will cost you comfort, acceptance, even applause. But in return, you are given a deeper reward. Alignment with your true self. Alignment with the God who shaped you from fire and breath, from compassion and clarity, from courage and reverence. You are not everyone's cup of tea. You are living water for the thirsty soul. You are not always invited to the table. You are being prepared to build your own, so stop apologizing for your brilliance. Stop shrinking so others feel tall. Stop dressing your spirit in costumes that do not fit. Instead, honor the divine difference in you. Let your voice rise. Let your truth stretch wide. Let your calling speak even when it shakes. Because you weren't made to blend with the ordinary. You were made to awaken the extraordinary. The fire in you was never meant to be hidden. The light in you was never meant to be dimmed. You are not here to fit in. You are here to stand out for the glory of the one who made you different on purpose. If you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. There are things you see that others pass by. Truths that rise in your spirit while others sleep. Possibilities that bloom in your mind like wildflowers after the storm, colorful, daring, untamed. You see them clearly. Not with your eyes, but with something deeper. Something older. You were born with vision, not just to dream, but to see. You notice what is missing. You feel the ache in places others call normal. You carry ideas that don't exist yet, hopes that don't have names, blueprints no one else believes in, and because of that, you often walk through life feeling like you're just a little ahead of your time. And you are. Because visionaries are not shaped by trends or titles. They are stirred by the spirit. You don't just imagine a better world. You are called to build it, even when your hands tremble. Even when your voice shakes. Even when they laugh or ignore or question. You carry a sacred burden, not of ego, but of purpose. And it is heavy. Sometimes unbearably so. People may not understand why you're restless in places others are content. Why you push for more when everyone else says, this is fine. Why you cry over things they cannot see. Why you hope in things they've long given up on, but you cannot unsee what you've seen. You cannot unknow what God whispered in the night, and truly, you wouldn't want to. Because this vision, though it sets you apart, also sets you on fire. It wakes you up in the middle of the night, not with fear but with longing. It makes your heart race when you hear injustice. It sends chills down your spine when you imagine what could be what must be. And that, beloved, is holy. You are not crazy. You are called. You are not too much. You are not too much. You are chosen to carry something bigger than this moment. Yes, it can feel like a burden. It can feel lonely to walk with a future inside you when the present around you feels so far behind. But that's what it means to be entrusted with vision. It is both a gift and a calling, a joy and a responsibility. You weren't given eyes to see just for yourself. You were chosen to be a mirror, a messenger, a midwife for what heaven wants to bring forth on earth, so keep seeing, Keep dreaming. Keep creating. Even if they don't believe you yet. Even if they mock what they don't understand. Even if you must build it stone by stone with tears in your eyes. Because one day, someone will walk freely through the door you carved open with your bare hands, and they will thank God for your vision. Because you saw the light when all they could see was night. Because you believed in beauty before it ever touched the ground. Because you carried the song even when there was no stage, no crowd, no applause. You sang because you had a song, and that song came from God. A bird doesn't sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song. Life has not gone easy on you. You've walked through real fire, the kind that scorches your hope and rattles your bones. The kind that takes your breath, then asks you to sing. The kind that breaks what is shallow, so that what is eternal can rise. But listen closely now. That fire was never meant to destroy you. No, beloved, that fire was meant to refine you. You've cried out, "Why me, Lord?" You've sat in silence while prayers turned to ashes. You've lost things you thought you could never live without, and yet, here you are, not untouched, but not undone either, still standing, still soft, still sacred. You see, God does not waste the fire. He uses it. He uses it to strip away what cannot last so that what is holy can remain. He uses it to shape you in the secret places where no one sees the tears, no one hears the groaning, no one applauds the quiet courage it takes just to rise again. The fire teaches you who you are when everything else falls away. It teaches you that strength is not in how loudly you roar, but in how faithfully you endure. It teaches you that survival is not weakness, it is worship, it is testament, it is triumph. Some may see your story and say, "She's been through too much." But heaven looks at you and says, "She is ready now." Because chosen people are not made in comfort, they are forged in trials. They are grown in silence. They are made strong in places the world forgets. You've been through seasons that would have crushed a lesser soul. But your pain became the soil where something stronger grew. You may have bent low, but you never broke all the way. You may have wept through nights so long they felt endless, but the sun found you anyway. And when it did, you were not who you were before. You had wisdom now not from books, but from battle. You had compassion now not as theory, but as lifeblood. You had a fire in you, now not the kind that burns others, but the kind that lights the way. That fire came through the fire, so let them talk about your scars if they must. Let them wonder how you're still here, still kind, still believing in beauty after all the ashes. Let them ask how you survived. Just smile, gently, like someone who has seen behind the veil. Because you know, this strength wasn't born of ease. It was born of being broken, then rebuilt by the hand of God. And that rebuilding, that was not punishment. That was purpose. You were not reduced. You were revealed. You were not destroyed. You were destined. So walk with your head high and your heart steady. You are fire tested and heaven approved. You are made strong not in spite of the flame, but because of it. And remember, when others walk through their own fire, they will look to you and find courage. They will find hope. They will find proof that survival is possible and resurrection is real. Because you were tested by fire. But you were not consumed. You were chosen. I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. There is a quiet power about you, one that cannot be explained by your education, your background, or your circumstances. It's not in your titles or your trophies. It's not in the way you speak, but in the way you stand when others would fall, when others have fallen. People ask you, sometimes in awe, sometimes in confusion, how do you keep going? How do you still believe? How do you keep showing up with love, with grace, with light? And if you were honest, you'd say, I don't know. Except that I'm not walking alone. Because the truth is, you've felt weak. You've had days when your strength was gone, when your knees buckled under invisible weight, when your heart whispered, I can't do this anymore. And yet somehow you rose. That rising wasn't your doing. It wasn't sheer will or grit or pride. It was presence. A sacred, invisible presence has walked beside you, sometimes ahead of you, clearing the path. Sometimes behind you, catching you before you fall. Sometimes within you, breathing when you forgot how. You are chosen. But you are not alone. This is the secret strength of the God-selected. Their power is not their own. Their courage is not conjured up. Their joy is not manufactured. It is gifted each day, each moment, like manna in the wilderness. You've walked through things that should have broken you, disappointments that should have silenced you, grief that should have drowned you. But each time, just when the darkness tried to convince you it had won, there came a flicker, a glimmer, a rainbow in your clouds. Hope it didn't shout. It didn't push. It simply whispered, I am here. And somehow, that was enough. You may not feel mighty, but make no mistake, you are a mountain. You may not feel holy, but heaven leans in when you pray. You may not feel strong, but you carry the same spirit that raised the dead. So no, you don't walk by yourself. There is someone walking with you, weeping with you, lifting you, holding you. That's why you shine in places that tried to bury you. That's why your soul still sings, even after the silence. That's why people look at you and feel a little braver, a little warmer, a little more alive. They think it's you. But it's not just you. It's the fire of God in your bones. It's the love of God wrapped around your soul. It's the strength of heaven underneath your every step. You are living proof that what tries to crush you can only polish you. That what comes to silence you can only deepen your song. That what tries to leave you in the dark can only make your light more radiant. So walk on, with grace, with faith, with the kind of strength that confounds the world. You may not always feel it, but it is there. It walks with you in the hospital room. It holds you in the midnight hour. It surrounds you when you don't even know you need it. That is why you shine. You walk with an invisible strength, and that strength is God. God puts rainbows in the clouds so that each of us in the dreariest and most dreaded moments can see a possibility of hope.